Ever trusted a friend too much, only to have them betray you? Or perhaps an enemy has unexpectedly become your greatest ally? Today we're exploring the second law of power from Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power. Never put too much trust in friends, learn how to use enemies. This law shows us that friends can sometimes become threats, and enemies, if used wisely, can serve you better than those you trust most. Let's break down what this law means and why it's a game changer in both historical and modern settings. The second law teaches us that friends are often unreliable. They might become jealous, competitive, or even resentful when you rise above them. While they may seem like your greatest supporters, when power, success, or even emotions get in the way, they can be the first to let you down. Meanwhile, enemies who know your strengths and weaknesses from the outside are often more cautious and deliberate in their actions. Their past animosity makes them more likely to act strategically and less emotionally, often leading to more loyalty when their allegiance is gained. Historical example 1, Michael III and Basilius I. A striking example of this law can be seen in the story of Byzantine Emperor Michael III and his friend Basilius. Michael, the emperor, befriended a lowly but cunning stable boy named Basilius. Impressed by his charm and skill, Michael brought Basilius into his inner circle, lavishing him with gifts, power, and eventually naming him co-emperor. But as Basilius gained more power, he became increasingly ambitious. He learned Michael's weaknesses and exploited his trust. Basilius repaid Michael's generosity by orchestrating his assassination and seizing the throne for himself. The lesson? Michael's blind trust in Basilius, his friend, ultimately cost him his life. Basilius, driven by ambition and understanding Michael's vulnerabilities, proved to be a lethal enemy hiding in plain sight. Historical example 2, Cesare Borgia and Ramiro d'Orco. Now let's look at Cesare Borgia, the son of Pope Alexander VI, a master of political maneuvering. Borgia understood the usefulness of enemies better than most. When he took control of the Romagna region in Italy, he needed to bring order to the lawless territory. Instead of relying on his friends, he appointed a brutal enforcer, Ramiro d'Orco, who had once been an enemy of Borgia. d'Orco ruthlessly imposed order, and once the region was pacified, Cesare made a public spectacle of having d'Orco executed. The people who had feared d'Orco's brutality now saw Borgia as a just ruler, even though he had used his former enemy to do his dirty work. By using an enemy like d'Orco, Borgia kept his own hands clean and maintained power. When the time came, he eliminated d'Orco to win the favor of the people, mastering both the art of using and discarding enemies when it was convenient. Historical example 3, Count Victor Lustig and Al Capone. A different kind of manipulation comes from the story of Victor Lustig, a master con artist in the early 20th century. Lustig made a career out of swindling the rich, but he knew that using enemies wisely was key to his success. In one of his most famous cons, Lustig approached the notorious gangster Al Capone, asking him to invest $50,000 in a business deal. Lustig then returned the full amount to Capone, claiming the deal fell through. Capone, shocked by Lustig's apparent honesty, rewarded him with $5,000 for his integrity. Lustig didn't steal from Capone directly, but used the trust he gained from Capone's naturally suspicious mind to walk away with a tidy profit. By knowing how to manipulate the suspicion of an enemy, Lustig profited without risking Capone's wrath. He turned Capone's natural distrust into an opportunity. Historical example 4, Emperor Sung and his general. Finally, let's look at Emperor Song of China. Early in his reign, Song faced a problem many leaders encounter: powerful military generals. These generals were popular with the people and could potentially overthrow him. Rather than relying on his trusted friends to counter the generals, Song decided to use a more strategic method. He invited the generals to a lavish banquet and, instead of intimidating them, he showered them with honors and gifts. He then asked them to retire to their estates, enjoying their wealth in comfort, far from the centers of power. Song's enemies, the powerful generals, were removed without violence or resistance. By giving them exactly what they wanted, luxury and comfort, they became complacent and no longer a threat. Song maintained his rule by turning potential enemies into harmless retirees. Practical examples. Workplace example. Imagine you've got a close friend at work, someone you've known for years. At first, everything is great. You support each other and work well as a team. But when promotions come around, your friend starts to see you as competition. They may unintentionally or intentionally undermine you, knowing your weaknesses. On the other hand, think of an employee who used to oppose your ideas but is a strong worker. By bringing them onto your side, you can create a powerful partnership built on mutual respect and clear boundaries. The lesson: friends might not always be the best allies in the workplace. Romantic relationship example. In relationships, overtrusting a partner without questioning their motivations can backfire. They know your deepest vulnerabilities, and if the relationship sours, that trust can turn into a weapon. Conversely, someone who has challenged you in the past might become an unexpected source of support because there's a level of respect built on shared experiences and growth. Social relationships example. In social dynamics, friends often have shared histories and emotions. This can make it hard to see when they're acting out of jealousy or insecurity. An enemy, however, has clear motives and, if converted, can become a loyal ally because they've seen your strengths from a different perspective. Using this law wisely in social circles can prevent betrayals born from emotional history and build alliances with people who respect you for your achievement. Analytical and critical commentary. This law, like many in the 48 laws of power, offers both wisdom and a word of caution. The idea of trusting enemies more than friends can seem counterintuitive, but it emphasizes the importance of being clear-eyed about human nature. Friends can become complacent or even competitive, while enemies often see things with sharper clarity and will go to great lengths to prove their worth if they switch sides. That said, this law should not lead to paranoia. It's about balance, trusting wisely and strategically managing both allies and opponents. Blindly following this law can lead to constant suspicion, which might erode all relationships. The key is moderation, knowing when to trust, when to hold back, and always being aware of the motives around you. Have you ever experienced betrayal from a close friend or seen an enemy become a surprising ally? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into power dynamics and dark psychology. We've got plenty more insights coming your way.